Bernard Hopkins, 46 years old, the oldest ever to win a boxing championship.
I'm ahead of the game.
Having defended a world middleweight title a record 20 times, Hopkins credits his work ethic and diet.
I don't miss a day, man. I just have this mindset that it ain't good for me.
From Oscar De La Hoya to Roy Jones Jr. to Felix Trinidad, Hopkins has fought the sport's best. However, his life was once much less glamorous, spending nearly 5 years in prison.
Where a guy killed my brother and nothing was done and I'm in this jail? Are you kidding?
We traveled to Atlantic City to sit down with Bernard Hopkins for this episode of In Depth. I want to take you back to your younger days when you were a boy growing up. What was life like for you growing up?
Challenging.
How so?
You had to make choices, and the choices was 9 out of 10 the wrong one. There was the side that was lambs, and there were sides that clearly was wolves. I seen how the lamb was being treated. I seen how the wolf was being respected. Well, with an amateur record, with the reputation of being tough, could be mean guy just by the stare, the wolf side was the best side to be on. And I chose to be the wolf for many, many years.
You were the second of 8 children. Your father, Bernard Sr., was a sanitation worker. Your mother, Shirley, worked odd jobs. Your parents, I understand, smoked, drank, did drugs.
Yes, yes.
How did that impact you?
Well, first of all, you're correct. My mother was more of a drinker. I never see her use drugs, but my father, he shot heroin, dope. I found needles. I found bottle caps that was burnt underneath. Later, I found out what it was.
That's what your father was doing?
Yeah. And part of that shot at his kidneys, bad living, drinking, and he died at 56, 57. And my mother never reached 60 either. And so I have 2 parents that's been dead 9 years, one 10 years, father, that had the opposite of lifestyle that I had.
You got into a lot of trouble growing up. You were also at one point stabbed, I understand.
Yeah, I was stabbed 3 times.
What happened?
On 3 different occasions by 3 different people. One, I was a victim. That happens in the jungle. I was going to movies with the girlfriend, and 3 guys was on a sub downtown, Center City, Philadelphia. And I noticed the guys watching us as our stop was coming to a stop. Well, it was coming to a stop. And I told her to take off her glasses and her earrings. That was a popular thing back in Philly. If you had those, girls had those big earrings, and they'd take them out of the air, they'd run, or they'd go by the bus when the windows open, and they'd take them, and the bus would go off, and they'd go down the street. But that was a really popular thing in the 80s, early 80s. And so...
Just ripping them off the ear.
Yeah, that was easy, yeah. But, yeah, they'll do that. And so as came to a stop, doors open, they right on us, back of us. Take off your earrings. I'm telling her, she's taking off the glasses. I turned around and said, "What's up?" I said, "What's up?" So we got to fight, and one stabbed me. And then, I think a hat fell off, a pair of glasses, and they ran up the steps. I fought, tried to chase, I believe, one of them, and I just passed out. I was in a hospital, Hannah University, for like 30 days.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened when you were stabbed?
I had a puncture lung. I got stabbed right underneath. I got a scar right here, still there.
Okay.
And so when I turned around, what's up? If I didn't jump back just out of reaction, it would have hit my heart, the doctor said. So it was very close. And like I said, I was in recovery for a couple of days, but I was there for 30 days. The whole stay was 30.
How many times were you arrested growing up?
Over 30.
What were some of the things that you did?
Everything: assault, theft by unlawful taking. In today's world, they would call it good salesmanship. Theft by unlawful taking is having, say, jewelry or a box that's taped up like it's brand new. It's a 19-inch TV in there, but it's really 18 bricks. But you don't know that the $200 you gave me, you just bought $200 worth of red bricks. And so I had a few of those. But if you look at that then, that was really talent. That was really talent, to have a goal.
But you got arrested almost every time you did it.
But that's the untalent.
Maybe if you didn't
that's
get
the
caught.
untalent. That's the untalent version. But let me brag on the first one though. The first one was talent that I pulled it off. Now the untalent was you got arrested. You don't think about getting arrested. Don't you understand? You've never been a criminal. You never did things that I know of that broke the law, because I can tell the way you reacted to that, and you're absolutely right. But we don't think about getting caught. Nobody thinks they're going to get caught or they wouldn't do it. So, it happens more than once for me.
What were those early days of prison like?
It was a lot of praying, but it's also when you out of that cell, you would never tell nobody you prayed. You would never tell nobody you scared. You would never tell nobody you cried. And if you cry loud where they can hear you, you have to take lockup. Now, jail is not the TV stuff that's been portrayed for the last 20, 30 years. It's not.
What's it like?
It's not Oz that HBO Showtime used to play. Jail is a place that even though you're around this wall, that there are choices even in the worst situations. And if you want to sell drugs, there's drugs to sell. If you want to be into gambling, there's gambling to be into. It's a small version of the negative stuff that you was involved in the street that's in there.
How did you go about navigating that path?
You put yourself in a situation where who you hang with you, and what you're into and what you're not into. But you can't walk around and break the rules. Once you break the rules of being a snitch, once you break the rule of being a person that's seen something and spoke about it, even to another inmate, you might be in a body bag if you don't take lockup. Then you're already locked up, but they can lock you up 2 times. And some people take that route. I would have been forced to risk my life, and my mother, Shirley Hopkins, would have lost 2 sons in 1 year.
For all show content, log on to GrahamBensinger.com.
Tell about what happened with the Puerto Rican flag.
The flag had to be put down to get their attention. And grabbing that attention was grabbing the media attention. And grabbing the media attention was to do something that they never thought that would be done, because it was bull. It was, in some people's case, classless or whatever.
While you were in prison, your brother was killed.
Yes.
How did you learn about what happened?
I learned first my brother was killed 1984, the year I was incarcerated. And Saturday morning, making my routine phone call, just to holler, see what people doing, call home. One sister handed a phone to another sister handed a phone to the other sister. So 3 or 4 sisters didn't have the phone, and nobody said anything. So I felt something was wrong. Instinct. And then obviously I was told. There's about 10 people waiting in the line for the phone. You're in this little room, glass door. the poker face had to be at its best. Because once you come out of that phone room, which had 4 phones in, and you open that door and you come out, faces are looking at you, and you are looking at faces. It's the same as you're looking at me now. And so, as you walk past and you get to wherever you got to go, which was my cell, that was the point where you say to yourself, and you let everything that you have to let out. And then you find out later on what happened, how it happened, who did it. Are they locked up? If they locked up, they're going to be coming here soon. He wound up getting the same time I got. I got 5 to 15 for strong arm robberies. He got 5 to 15 for homicide. And so that's the way thing goes. He did come through. He took lockup. I'm glad he did. I wouldn't have been here.
Really?
No. How? I'd have been forced to get him killed or kill him. Where I stand, where a guy killed my brother and nothing was done and I'm in this jail? Are you kidding? I would have been forced to risk my life, and my mother, Shirley Hopkins, would have lost 2 sons in 1 year. Because I would have been in jail for the rest of my life, and she'd have been buried in one.
I don't mean to harp on death, but your long-time trainer, Bowie Fischer, recently passed away at 83 years old. And I know you both had a falling out, but you worked together for a really long time. How about your fondest memory with him?
Everything. My fondest memory of Bowie Fischer was even on his last day when I visited him, and he opened his eyes up and he seen me shadow boxing in front of him in the bed while James and Andre, his sons, was in Voorhees Hospital, which is a brand new hospital. And we start talking, Andre and James, and rubbing his hair. He's known as having a silver bush. And somehow we all sat back down and let him, sleep. And he woke up. And we all jumped up and went to the bed. Boy. And I stepped away from the bed so he can see me and see my legs and my foot, because he always told me, the first thing that goes on a fighter is not his punch. It's not his chin. If he had a chin, he still had one. If he never had one, he never will. His legs. His legs is the first thing that betray you. And so I started shadow boxing. And I started moving in the hospital. And he started getting excited. That was the last time I seen Bowie Fischer alive.
When was the last time you had alcohol?
23 years ago.
For all show content, log on to GrahamBensinger.com.
What's been your most satisfying victory for you personally?
2 weeks after 9/11, Jim Brown was there from LA. It was so many people there. It was packed, 20,000 people under one roof in New York City. That would be attached to the biggest night of my career as a fight itself, but also the worst tragedy of the history of the United States that I played not a part in, but played a part of, not being a hostage and a prisoner in our homes across the world, especially in New York City.
The fight was supposed to be September 15th. Yeah. Obviously, it was postponed due
My
to 9/11.
best performance under the mental situation.
And it was the first major sporting event in Manhattan following the September 11th terrorist attacks. What was the environment like in the arena that evening?
Crazy. Dogs, FBI agent, DEA, every law enforcement that you can name, and some I probably don't even know of, that was there. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to show people you can go out. It's a bold move, because just imagine if it was something that happened in Madison Square Garden, in spite of all the security and all that, with 20,000 people on there, somebody's job, and I think Giuliani was the mayor at the time, heads would have been rolling, because that fight could have easily been canceled, and no question about it, who's going to complain and who's going to mention it? How selfish can you be? People's lives, they burnt up in furnaces, jumping out the windows. So I had to pull myself together. The fight's going to happen. Let me deal with it and block things out and win this fight. 9/11 is always attached to it. And you know what? Just for the history's sake of it, I don't mind, because it shows the significance of the world that time and how we pulled it off. Forget who won, who lost. I'm glad I won. But we pulled it off, because I can say, in a proud moment, not a bragging moment, that we was the biggest show 2 weeks after we've been attacked.
I had the opportunity to spend a couple days with Mike Tyson recently at his Nevada home for an interview, and one of the things he said interesting that I found surprising was that when he would walk out to the ring right before a fight that he was participating in, he would be terrified, scared, self-doubt would come in. He thought he was going to lose generally. When you're walking out to the ring, what's your mindset?
Seek and destroy, him or me, his family or my family.
And your assistant trainer, Danny, was telling me you'll watch films all the way back to the fighter's very earliest fights.
If you train and you look at your opponent on film, I want to know how you take his instructions, even he's winning or losing. There's so many footage out there on both of us where if he gives any clue that when adversity comes, he looks the other way when his trainer talks to him. He looks up, he looks down. More or less like you don't want to hear it. You're not focused. And so those things I look for very, very key. And I also look for the goodness and the strength and then the weakness, and then break them down. Take his style and use it against him.
What's the workout schedule like when you're training for a bout and then when you're out of training?
I do things to keep the motor running. I like to sweat. I like to keep my body fit. I like clothes. I like to put on suits. I like for people to say, man, he's 46, look at him. I don't miss a day, man. I don't make people, I got friends that think of me like I'm crazy. So I'm like, hey, man, have some ice cream, or let's do this, or have that. Hey, man, I don't eat Philly cheesesteaks. I just have this mindset that it ain't good for me.
What do the eating habits entail?
I'm more or less like a Whole Foods guy. I'm more or less like an organic guy. I do eat red meat. I don't eat it a lot.
And is it only buffalo and something else when you eat red meat?
Yeah, but I eat buffalo, I eat lamb, but a lot of stuff that I eat is more like fish, chicken, a lot of soy burgers and turkey burgers and ground turkey. But, my fun stuff, every now and then I get the low-fat cheesecake, if you believe it or not. They do make it. And that's my treat. After the fight, I'm sitting there with Dan Raphael. You know who that is. And we sitting there, and I'm eating the cheesecake. He basically went crazy, took a picture of it, put it on his Twitter. He got 1,800 hits.
I thought you only had like 3 bites of the cheesecake.
Yeah, I only had 3 bites. But that just for people knowing that I had 3 bites of cheesecake, he got 1,800 hits.
When was the last time you had alcohol?
23 years ago. Even longer. It was when I was 18, 17, 16, when I was younger.
What about soda today?
No. Soda is the worst thing. If the soda to me is like liquid crack. It don't do anything for the body. It's junk, and it's part of the obese problem that we have in the country today. It's bad for you. It's a drug itself.
The oldest fighters to ever win Fighter of the Year honors were 36 years old, Muhammad Ali and you. That was 10 years ago now. Obviously, you're now 46. You've said before you hope to fight till you're 50 years old, but you've also said you can only see yourself fighting another couple fights. So where do you stand now with regards to how long you plan to continue fighting?
People expect me to lose a fight one night because of 46. I'm motivated because I feel that I represent a movement. If you get your body right, you get your mind right, whatever you do, you have a fighting chance and you have a chance to be victorious. That's a message beyond sports. That's a message in everything.